3 tips for dealing with panic attacks. I am China McCarney, and this is Daily Mental Health. So first off, what is a panic attack? I have suffered from panic attacks for 14 years, and the best way I have described them in the past is it feels like your brain and body is betraying you. My panic attacks manifest in fight or flight. I feel like I get a ton of adrenaline, pins and needles up my spine, and I feel as if I'm either going to pass out, throw up, poop my pants, and need to evacuate the situation. At least that's how I felt at the worst of it at the beginning. But as I started to go through this journey, started to get help, certain things started to help me in the moment when panic attacks would occur, and that's what I want to share in this video. My 3 most important tips and tricks that help me during a panic attack. So the next time you feel anxious, you feel anxiety starting to snowball, try these 3 things, see if they work for you. The ones that do, keep them in your mental health recipe, keep them as an ingredient in that recipe. The ones that don't work for you, as I always tell everybody I work with, discard them, learn from them, try the next resource. So 3 tips that'll help you deal with a panic attack. Number 1 is breathing. Breathing has so many physiological benefits, and we all know it can help us relax. But another thing that focusing on the breath does during a panic attack is it brings you back to the present moment. Most of the tips I'm going to cover on this channel that have to do with panic attacks or anxiety are going to have to do with getting out of your brain, stopping focus on the panic attack, and getting back to the moment, immersing yourself in the present. But breathing can bring you back to the present moment because the breath is always happening now, as my buddy Alan Jaeger likes to say. And so if you take deep breaths, it can calm you down and it can bring you back to the present moment, which those 2 things alone are going to help immensely when you start to deal with the panic attack. If you need help with deep breathing, we live in a great technology age. You can Google, you can YouTube. My favorite breathing technique is 4-4-4-4. So inhale for 4. Hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4, and so on. So that's the number 1 tip, deep breathing when a panic attack sets in. Number 2, I already gave a hint in number 1, but is immerse yourself in your immediate environment. So if you're out, most of the time panic attacks tend to strike us outside the home, in public. For me, it's in crowds during claustrophobia or feeling stuck. And so immersing yourself in your environment means use your senses. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you smell? This takes you, again, outside of your brain and into your environment so that that snowball effect of the panic attack loses steam, loses power, and your nervous system and the panic tends to start to subside. So I might try to notice the color of somebody's shoes. I might try to notice the sounds of the birds or the cars passing by, what brand of car. Anything to immerse yourself in the present moment and get you outside of your head. So number 1 is breathing. Number 2 is immerse yourself in the present moment. Number 3, after you've dealt with panic attacks for a while, this one's difficult at the beginning, but if you've dealt with panic attacks or anxiety for a while, number 3 is welcome the anxiety, welcome the panic attack. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when we try to fight something with our brain, it creates tension. And the nervous system gets sped up and it releases a bunch of adrenaline, and that's when we enter that fight or flight. If we welcome the anxiety and become an observer, what am I feeling? What's truly happening here? It sends the message to our brain that we're okay with what's going on. And so that powerful system and that thing that tends to snowball, like I said, out of control, loses a little steam, and we start to learn about what's actually going on inside of our body, what's actually going on inside of our minds, and it helps us every single time that we're exposed to these unpleasant sensations. We have more and more experience, more and more knowledge, which, like anything in life, the more practice, the more knowledge, the more experience, the better and more comfortable we're going to get in the future. So those are 3 tips to deal with panic attacks. Breathing, it'll help relax you. It brings you to the present moment. Immerse yourself in the environment. It takes you out of your head. Notice sights, smells, sounds, brands of things. And number 3 is welcome the anxiety. Become an observer. Use it as an experiment to learn so that if it does happen again, we're more equipped to deal with it. So those are 3 tips to deal with panic attacks. As always, Be the change you wish to see in your life, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.